Well, hey everyone, grandparents and parents. My name is Pastor Antoinette, and I am so glad that you're with us today because we're talking about this crucial issue of identity. If you've ever had a chance to sit with me before, you know my heart is for our students. You know that I believe the key for our kids in today's world is overcoming all of these hot button issues is truly understanding their identity, and that they get a firm grasp of the fact that the one that has the right to define them is the one that created them. And the question is, how do you begin to build this into your kids' lives? And the answer is with repetition over and over again. The Bible says, don't conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by what? By the renewing of your mind. Paul knew with neuroplasticity was before the word was ever created, and repetition over time, as we say here, small things done consistently over time produce big results. I love the 40 I ams that we connect with the topic of identity is I am not moved by what I see. There are so many factors around our kids that are calling them, encouraging them to act out of their feelings. They're the justifiable reason for many mistakes people are making today. It says, well, just do what feels right. And yet our jobs as moms and dads and papas and nannies, our job is to help our children develop this trait of how in the world can I let what I know control what I feel instead of letting what I feel control what I know. And I believe it happens as we take every opportunity in front of us to teach our kids about their identity. Yes, I think you ought to take these 40 I ams. I think you need to have them once a week, take them out. You ought to read them together as a family. You need to talk about it a bit. But I also think that you ought to be looking in every situation for a way to creatively say in your children's own language, is this that who God created you to be? When your daughter, she might get a broken heart, and we know that this is going to happen at some point in time. And when she's brokenhearted, you need to commiserate with her. It's hard when she feels rejected and you feel like you're not enough. But in your own creative way, you have to gently remind her that she is the daughter of the King. When your son is hurt by a friend or someone gets moved up in the roster in basketball or band and he's feeling like he's less than enough, you have got to find a creative way, once again, to validate that feeling, to speak truth into them about who God says that they are, that He is more than a conqueror. And being a conqueror means you have to have something to conquer. I mean, the list could go on and on. I just think this is so important for us as grandparents, for us as parents, to consistently be speaking identity over our children's lives. And you're like, well, I don't know where to begin. I would say, ask God. I mean, seriously, open up the 40 I ams in your journal or the ones that you download. They're on your phone, they're on your watch, and just pray. Say, God, would you kind of help me discover which one of these 40 statements about who you created me to be ought to be sharing with my children this week. And you won't know if it's God or if it's just something you thought of, but because you ask God to help you, He's going to bless you in that. I believe that to be true, and I think there will be times that in certain circumstances, you're going to know exactly which one you ought to focus on for that week. And then I'd say this. I would say we all understand that our children are shaped by what they see and not simply what we say. And so if we are struggling at times to believe in our heart that one of these statements about are true, I would say in age-appropriate way, you ought to share it with your children. But you also have to say, I'm committed to moving my life to these unchanging truth. I'm committed to acting upon what I know, not what I feel. You know, I watch parents at athletic contests. I'm one of them sometimes that we kind of go crazy when we're in the stands. And I sit there sometimes, even when I do it, and I'm like, man, they're not college pros. They're just basketball players. They don't even keep scores. But why are we as parents doing that? And then I thought, you know what? Because they're finding their identity through their children. Living vicariously through your children will honestly suck your soul dry. because you weren't created to find your identity in the performance of your children. You were created to find your identity in God alone. And as you commit in your heart and your life that I'm going to constantly reassess and I'm going to take a couple of clicks back from where I am, you orient your life around what God says is true. As God begins to do that in your heart in ways you will never know, your kids are going to see it before they hear it, and it will shape their life.